readers,
reviewers,
countrymen,
lend us your ears. And a huge thank you to all of our Patreons.
Thank you to the Pit Fighters, the First Swords, and all of the Bright Stars, Truth and Courage. Oh, that might have felt a bit rusty. We haven't done this in a long time. Welcome everyone back to the Brothers Gwyn channel. Today, myself, Ed, and my brother Will have been talking about all the books that we would love to read in the month of November. We haven't recorded for a little while. It feels good to be back. Well, you're back, aren't you? It feels good to be back onto the booktube.
Yes, it has been quite a while, and we thought instead of going over the long list of books, well, you've not really read anything the last few months, have you?
Long list
so
for you, very short.
We decided not to do what we've read in August, September, October. I think we did do August. But anyway, we decided to start fresh, clean new page. I'm back south, and we thought we'll do a video talking about what I'm going to be reading in November, as well as what Edward G is going to be reading in November as well. And so, yeah, we've missed recording videos for the channel.
I'm not in trouble.
And we're going to record a few videos. I'm down for a few days, so we're going to be doing them in a batch. So over the next few weeks, we might be saying little comments that are talking as if we're in late October. And that's because when we record them, we will be.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that is where we are now. And we are going to kick right off with the book that we are both reading.
I personally would never kick this book, but it is Dan Jones's Wolves of Winter. We are very, very happy with our Broken Binding editions. The first book of this medieval historical fiction series, Essex Dogs, was one of our favourite reads of the year last year. Dan Jones is now coming for Bernard Cornwell's historical fiction crown. And yeah.
Bold words.
Bold words. Bold actions. Bold man. But yeah. Wolves of Winter, I am so buzzing for this because the way that Essex Dogs ended was fantastic. We have a great, lovable cast of characters in Essex Dogs, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how they navigate themselves through the French landscape and the warring in Europe in the Middle Ages. And
saying that he's there for Cornwall's crown, Connie Woodin actually said it reminds me of Cornwall at his best.
There we go.
Big, bold words.
They recently did a chat together, Dan Jones and Connie Woodin, which I wish I was there.
Same.
But yeah, two greats of the genre.
Yeah, and if you want to see Ed dressed in armour reviewing Essex Dogs along with myself, just Ed in armour, then yeah.
Or down there.
This actually.
Down there.
No, this
could be right in the middle.
Could be right there.
Maybe.
And so yeah, that is Wolves of Winter. And we have very, 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 very big news. We will be interviewing Dan Jones himself, historian, author, journalist, presenter, over on the Broken Binding Instagram page. We'll be doing a live via that on the 6th of November, Tuesday the 6th of November at 7:30 p.m. And we cannot wait. We are so hyped for this. I cannot believe that's actually happening.
Yeah.
And we're going to be interviewing Dan Jones. And of course, we'll have read Wolves of Winter by then.
Yeah. Yeah, buzzing for that. It'd be great to chat with him and find a little bit behind the scenes of Wolves of Winter.
Be awesome. Next up, if you don't mind if I jump right on in, Ed, I am currently listening to Unruly by David Mitchell. So if any of you are fans of the show called Peep Show, he is Mark Horrigan in that. And so he's a very clever man, but he's not a historian. And so it's approaching this as... Actually, you know what? I should say what Unruly is actually about. It's a history of the monarchy, basically, up until, I think he drops off at the Tudors.
The British monarchy.
The British monarchy. Up until the Tudors. And so
English
he quickly...
monarchy, really, isn't it? English.
Yeah. Yeah, but he touches on everything.
Some are British.
Around that, and then it kind of amalgamates into the British monarchy. But anyway, so he talks about kind of way back, someone called Alfred the Great or something, someone called Arthur as well. Just some figures in history, really.
He doesn't like Arthur, does he?
He just doesn't like people saying he's real, which he was, David, he was. But anyway, I really am loving this because it's very accessible, very humorous, and it's more he's just enjoying himself, looking at what he finds really interesting about
Is
these
it non-fiction?
Yeah, it's non-fiction. Yeah, and he's just kind of briefly going over each ruler because if he went into deeper depth, then it'd probably be 4,000 pages long. But it's very quick, very accessible, very funny. I've been laughing out loud. And yeah, it's great non-fiction, and one that if you're not really into non-fiction, I think this is fantastic. This is the way to go. I think the genre, this is a great direction to go towards to get more people into this kind of history.
A nice general overview with kind of a quippy tone.
Tongue in cheek.
Always Always goes down well. And if you guys ever need to know how to upset William, just tell him that King Arthur isn't real. On to the next book that I'll be reading during the month of November is a book that was released a couple of months ago, and it's a book that I've been desperate to read. I just have not had too much time, but The Words of Kings and Prophets by Shauna Lawless, book 2 of...
Gale song?
Or the Jail song.
Yeah.
The Gaul song. I think it's the Gaul song. I don't know.
Not very good at pronunciations.
This is a fantastic historical fantasy. The first book, Children of Gods and Fighting Men, was again one of our favourites from last year. And historical fantasy is a genre that is quickly taking over, and it is becoming one of our favourites, especially when you have Shauna Lawless's fantastic voice mixed with Irish mythology and Viking Age history. That is just something, feels like it's been written for us. It's been tailored for us as readers. So we are absolutely buzzing to be reading this. I'll be reading it during the month of November. I'm sure you'll be reading it in the future, William, when you're a bit less busy with university and other reading, I guess. But yeah, absolutely buzzing for that. She's got a great voice, Shauna Lawless, and I just absolutely love the way that Children of Gods and Fighting Men ended their... Yeah, it was pretty intense, and I'm sure this book is going to be no less.
Very nice, and yeah, I really cannot wait to read that, and hopefully it'll be in my pile for December. Next up, I have another Audible listen, and I'll be finishing The Face from the Fallen for the first time, listening to them via Audible.
Time. Everyone, did you hear that?
Yeah,
He's going to be finishing
funny.
The Face from the Fallen for the
I
first
have read
time.
this more times than I've had hot dinners, probably. Maybe
You
it's
do
not
prefer
exaggeration.
cold pizza. I don't know why.
I do. But anyway, this is Wrath by John Papa Gwyn himself. And I've loved listening to these via audiobook. Damien Lynch, fantastic narrator, does a great job. Some very interesting
He's in
choices at
EastEnders,
times.
I think, you know.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Look at that. So if you like EastEnders, definitely listen.
EastEnders is an English, British soap
It is.
drama.
For those who didn't know.
Loves it.
But yeah, so Wrath, really loving the journey through the Face from the Fallen, and yeah, I'm ready to get to a huge battle, which is about
Who's your
500
favourite
pages long.
character? Obviously, I've read this one before, so.
Should have seen where he was going with that.
Makeem. Okay, the next one for me is actually, well, it's 2 books linked to the next one as well, but I will be rereading the Wolf Den series. So the first 2 books are already out, which is the Wolf Den and the House with the Golden Door. I'm forcing my girlfriend to read this, so yeah, I said I'll read it with her, and they are going to be absolutely fantastic. I'm sure she's going to absolutely love them, and I will really enjoy returning to these characters, because they do have a special place in my heart, even though some of them are evil, even though what happens in these pages is really horrific most of the time, but you just cannot help but have this kind of this emotional connection to the main character. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to being back in her presence, and also to be reading The Temple of Fortuna, which is book 3 of the Wolf Den trilogy, coming out on the 23rd of November in the UK. So that has been probably the book I've been most excited to read this year. House with the Golden Door was my second favourite book of the year last year.
Wow, that's how long ago.
Yeah,
wow.
So it was just behind Boudica, and you guys know Boudica was a big hit. Was it last year I read this? It was last year.
I can't believe that.
And it feels crazy, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading both of these again. Look at the beautiful editions. Will, these are, I can't believe you actually got hardback, so fair enough.
I felt pretty cool.
How much do you want for them?
You
know that I'm your brother, yeah?
I don't think I could ever sell them.
We could duel.
I wouldn't want to embarrass you.
I would.
Next up, I have Jane Eyre.
I promise I would win.
Oh dear. Wow.
I pinky.
Ed,
I do.
You can't do that. You can't be a liar.
What are we dueling with? I've got a sword, you've got a spoon. I've won.
I've got Harugrim.
It's too heavy for you.
Not when I get on Shadowfax.
Wasn't it broken? Okay, so you've got a Hoogan and a sword.
And I've got Hoogan and a sword.
And a horse.
Oh dear.
I consider Shadowfax to be another
It may have been a
weapon,
while,
so
but it's the same old
very
channel. We say the wrong things. It's alright, Ed. But next up, I have Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. This is part of my reading list for uni. I'll be covering Jane Eyre and doing an essay on it in a few weeks. And so, yeah, it'd probably be a good idea to read the book, wouldn't it? And so, yeah, many of the books I'm going to be talking about for the rest of this video will be attached to my reading list. Some I'd never heard of before, but Jane Eyre I certainly had heard of before. And to be fair, I really enjoyed... What are you laughing at? I've nearly finished reading Emma, and I've really enjoyed reading that. And Jane Eyre is kind of pushed into a similar category. So hopefully the same will be there. And it's not too long, which is very nice when I'm kind of juggling so many different pages and things and articles to read. It's nice when you see something a bit shorter. And so, yeah, now, Ed, what do you find so amusing?
Nothing. But have you ever heard of Jane Eyre's cousins? Jane Fire and Jane Water. That's enough for me. The next one for me as well, I've actually got Berserk here, the deluxe editions. I have the first 3. I've read them all. I'm utterly obsessed. And yes, in the month of November, I'll be reading Berserk Deluxe number 4, which I don't have yet, but I will be ordering very soon. Please don't tell anyone, because it's hitting the bank balance hard. Because these editions are amazing. They're like so beautiful. But Will, I think you'd absolutely love Berserk. It is so intense. The character work is phenomenal. There are some very, pretty goofy things, but once you kind of get over it, it is just absolutely fantastic. The characters are at the front and center of the series, and it is just an emotional read at times. It is also brutal, and it is everything that you would love to see in a grimdark fantasy series. But yeah. Deluxe edition number 4, which is volumes, I think 10, 11, 12, will be read during the month of November. So,
very nice.
Very excited for that.
Some Berserk. I do need to jump on that.
Don't jump on that, Will. They're too valuable.
Oh, Ed, you can't make the same joke twice.
No, I said kick.
Kick. Fair enough. Anyway, next up, our Bede's Ecclesiastical History, which sounds riveting. So ecclesiastical, I think that means in relation to the church, doesn't it?
Yes.
So it's a history of basically the church in England up to that point. And so this would be very good kind of looking at the context for another one of my modules in my English section of my degree, which is Epic and the Legend of Literature. And so I've been reading Beowulf, and next up is Bede's Ecclesiastical History. And so, yeah, it's great to add to that context. And I think I will enjoy it. It'll be very interesting. And I'm loving this module so far. So, yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, that continues.
What's been your highlight of the module so far?
Beowulf. It's so good. And I had this incredible lecturer. He opened by speaking the first few lines of Beowulf. It reminded me of you, Philip Chase, if you're watching. Mm-hmm. And his name was actually Philip as well. That is crazy, yeah. But sure, not Chase.
Not Chase. Okay.
Well,
there can't be 2 Philip Chases who can read Beowulf.
That's just not allowed. There can be only one.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've loved Beowulf, and I'm not quite done with it yet. Whereas I've done reading it, but there's still another lecture on it. So yeah, I'm looking forward. Be bittersweet that last lecture on it, but I'm sure I'll be able to talk about it for many years to come. And so yeah, next up, Bede's Ecclesiastical History, and Bede is actually the venerable Bede himself is buried in the cathedral, a 2-minute walk from where I'm living.
Wow,
in Durham.
That's pretty
cool. So yeah, seen his tomb.
Are you going to read it sitting next to his tomb, or is that a bit weird?
I think that would be a bit weird.
I'd do it. Not to sound a bit weird.
Enough said. Next up,
the next one, talking of Mr. Dr. Philip Chase, I'll be reading Return of Adan. And yeah, I cannot wait to read book 3 of the trilogy. It is Philip Chase's self-published series, and they have absolutely knocked me off of my feet. Prophet of Adan was absolutely phenomenal. I loved reading The Way of Adan. Prophet Adan just kind of ramped up the level, and it felt like a very different book, but it was just fantastic. It has these influences behind Philip Chase's writing that is really akin to our family, really, isn't it? It's like our canon. And Prophet of Adan was just, an amalgamation of all of these wonderful things that Philip Chase has read, all of his amazing ideas, all written with this beautiful, snappy prose. And Return of Adan is one of the most exciting, one of the most hyped books, in my opinion, that I shall be reading. So I'm absolutely buzzing for that. Yeah,
so we absolutely loved The Way of Adan. We said that it felt like it was really written for us in terms of the kind of inspirations, that mix of classic and contemporary fantasy. And The Prophet of Adan really kicks off where The Way of Adan left off. The Way of Adan, it lays the foundations in a very engaging way. And there are some epic sequences in here, but it's a bit slower. And The Prophet of Adan,
for good reason too.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, but The Prophet of Adan is most definitely not slow. It was an incredible pace. I absolutely loved it, and hopefully we'll be talking to Philip Chase soon about it.
Yeah, and what I find amazing about the Adan's trilogy is similar to Faith from the Fallen in a way that you have this emotional connection to the characters, and Philip's writing really brings your emotion to the forefront, and the focus is there, which is always what I want to read, because as we're character readers,
we are indeed.
If you have an emotional connection to the characters, then that's as good as it can get in terms of writing, isn't it? So as long as you want to.
Yeah. Next up to what many people probably call oldie poems, I've got The Wanderer and Judith. And so Judith was actually found in the same manuscript as Beowulf was found in the Noel Codex. And
Beowulf and Judith don't sound like they go hand in hand.
I know, but do you know what else was in it? A letter from Alexander the Great to Aristotle. Yeah.
It's random.
Which may not be true, but...
real.
Yeah, but maybe it is. Maybe. I'm worried. We haven't said maybe for a while, have we? But anyway, so yeah, Judith and The Wanderer. I've read The Wanderer before. It's, other than Beowulf, probably my favourite kind of Anglo-Saxon poem. A lot of people say The Dream of the Rood, but I prefer The Wanderer personally. And there are elements very close to some lines that Theoden may say, where now the rider...
It makes sense that you have Herugrim on the wall.
It does. I do love a bit of Theoden. I love the Rohirrim. I love Tolkien, love Lord of the Rings, and I love The Wanderer. And so yeah, I'm looking forward to reading that again. And then Judith, which I've never read before. And so yeah, again, part of the Epic and Legend of Literature section of my module.
Please follow off the rest of yours, Will, because I am done.
You are... finite. Wow. Next up, I have The Beggar's Opera, which is a drama I have never heard of before. And yeah, but I'm looking forward to it. The plays that I've gone through so far, I've really enjoyed. So again, I'm quite lucky of kind of the content that's been on there so far, how it's clicked with me. And doing Dr. Faustus at the moment, which is by Marlowe. Absolutely love that. I think you would really enjoy that.
Would I? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's Viggo Mortensen's favourite play.
Really?
Book? Poem?
Play. Marlowe was a contemporary of Shakespeare's. I think they were rivals a bit at the time as well. But anyway, that's a digression. And yeah, The Beggar's Opera. I hopefully will enjoy it. I can't really say much more than that. And then I've got two more. Beowulf, I'm going to be reading Tom Shippey's translation and his commentary as well. And this, I'm halfway through actually watching Philip Chase's interview of Tom Shippey, which is absolutely fascinating. I'm scribbling many notes away whilst watching that.
Is that published by Uppsala Books?
It is indeed, and I believe he works at Uppsala University. I may be wrong.
Do you know where that is?
Where? In Scandinavia somewhere. Sweden. And because you've mentioned it a few times before, there's a lot of archaeological finds there.
Uppsala is a very important place in the Viking Age.
Yeah, and so yeah, what I love about this is that it has the Old English on one side, the original text, and then Tom Shippey's take on the translation, which is brilliant because when I'm looking for references, I'm kind of reading, say, Seamus Heaney's edition, and then I'm trying to find the Old English, and I can't because it's not in that edition, so I have to grab another one. I've got like 3 different editions out on the table, but now I've got it all in one, and there's a commentary.
Are you learning to read it? Is there anyone going to help you, reading Anglo-Saxon poetry?
That's what you can do next year. All the texts this year are in translation, but you can talk about the Old English derivations and kind of the ambiguity to the meaning of words as well. And so yeah, really looking forward to reading this. And yeah, that's probably my 3rd edition of Beowulf that I've read.
Nice.
Well, when I've read it, that'd be probably a good start, wouldn't it? And then I think last up, I have not the entirety, thank goodness, of William Shakespeare's work, but Hamlet, which I have read before, read it last year, but I'm reading it again, part of the drama module on my English course. And so, yeah, Hamlet, many would say that it's his greatest play. I probably prefer Macbeth, but Hamlet is definitely, there's so much to dive into. Maybe reading it again may ignite more of a fire in me.
Nothing beats Macbeth.
Macbeth is awesome.
I would like to read Titus Andronicus.
That's great. Richard III, when Richard III is actually on stage, is probably my favourite. But he's only on stage for about half the play. So when he's not, I'd say that it hasn't got that same kind of energy.
Half is good.
But yeah, Macbeth is brilliant from start to end. And Hamlet is fantastic as well. And it's just so iconic, isn't it? I know, it's quite heavy, so I just keep on going. But yeah, that is everything that I'm reading or intending to read in the month of November. Hopefully I get through a lot of them. A lot of them I have to. There is no choice to not get through them.
Wow.
They'll hunt me down.
To read. Oh, you poor, poor man.
I know.
I don't know why you're complaining on here because this is the wrong audience for that. But thank you so much for watching our video on what we would like to read during the month of November. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you enjoyed seeing the brothers back together at long last. It's been a long time, but it's been a lot of fun. So thank you. We'd love to see you in the comments below, letting us know what you're hoping to read in November, and have any of these books taken your eye or caught your eye. I wouldn't want them to take your eyes because then you wouldn't be able to see and you wouldn't be able to click on our videos. Anyway, truth and courage.
The Brothers Gwyn.
The Brothers Gwyn.